I mean, if this is an overbluff spot, you have a call. I think it's really close. You know, if he's some like hotshot Euro with a backpack on a board like this and you didn't four bet, I might click the.
And played at Magic City Casino in Miami.
Okay.
Like a few weeks ago. We're 5-5, 2100 effective with the main villain.
Okay.
I am in the cutoff with ace 10 of clubs.
Okay.
And it folds to me. I opened a 20. It was sort of unclear like what the normal opening size was in this game. This game was initially like 2-5, and then a few overs before we decided to shoot it up to 5-5. So I just stuck with what I was doing at 2-5, which was 20. The button then 3-bets me to 55, which also seemed pretty small. The small blind, who was this older guy, didn't really understand pre-flop dynamics or anything. He cold calls the 55, and then it's back to me.
Yeah, when you emailed this hand, I mean, I know this is going to be an interesting spot post flop, but anytime you've got a dead caller in here in the blinds, right? I mean, you say he's sort of an old man. I mean, I just can't imagine he's playing anything, super duper, say, tricky. I just think this is just what a great spot here to four bet. There's so much dead. I mean, there's extra dead money out there. And you're in the cutoff, so it's a late position configuration. The button could be much, much wider, or should be even much, much wider than ace 10 of clubs. I mean, I would seriously consider four betting here.
Yeah, in hindsight, I definitely think I should have. The button was definitely like a younger guy who's a good player, so I definitely think he was probably going to be wider in this spot. I did end up electing a call, which I don't really like, but the pot is about, I guess, 165 now after the rake.
So did the small blind call or not?
Yeah, so the small blind cold called the 55, and then I flatted as well.
Okay, so
three ways.
165-ish, something like that. Okay.
Yeah, just about.
Okay.
The flop comes ace, king, 4, rainbow. I have no backdoor, and the ace was a spade.
Okay, so I'm going to put up ace of spades, king of hearts, 4 of diamonds.
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Obviously, it goes check, check, button, then c-bet 70.
Okay.
The small blind folds, and I feel like I just have a pretty clear call here.
So button 70, fold, and obviously hero makes the call. I'm actually going to be going. I might actually point to this particular hand as an example too. There's a concept that I'm going to be going over on the podcast tomorrow, the strategy podcast for Crush Live Poker subscribers, and that's when you can actually see bet into multiple opponents. And I'm talking about even super multi-way, like 4 ways. And really, this is like one of the boards really where you can do it and just liberally barrel off, and it's going to lend itself to what's going to happen to you at the end in another sort of MDF spot. And I hope YouTube doesn't give me another strike for saying MDF, but specifically like on ace king 4, when people don't 3-bet pre, and they always 3-bet or 4-bet or put the extra bet in with aces, kings, and ace king, well, then now that guy who's 3-bet knows that you guys don't have aces, kings, or ace king. Sure, you could have ace 4 or pocket 4s, but it really lends itself to being barreled off, and you can fire multiple barrels even into multi-way opponents, 4 or 5 people if you're willing to like empty the clip, and someone's going to have to hold on, with an ace. But obviously you just have a call here. I mean, there's nothing really to necessarily say about the flop play. It looks like the pot's 305 now, right? Yep. Okay.
So we go to the turn, which is the 8 of spades. So
Okay.
now there's backdoor spade draw.
Yep.
I obviously check again. And now the button bets 250, which was just under a pot size bet.
All right. So check, button bets 250. Okay.
Yeah. So here, like, I honestly almost contemplated folding for a second after he took this size. Obviously, like, on these ace king boards, like, he's just going to have like huge range advantage on me. And I ended up calling, but I honestly very much considered folding here.
Yeah, I don't see how you can possibly fold. I mean, again, when we take a look at minimum defense frequency, it's a little bit wanky, I would say, moving if we were going to look at this before the river, because hands have equity, right? Whereas at the river, they don't. I mean, the equity is basically revealed. But I mean, again, if you're 4-betting always with aces, kings, and ace king here, what are you left to call with besides pocket fours, ace four, ace eight. I mean, I don't think you're not going to piece off with pocket eights on the flop. So I just don't know how you could possibly fold now. You said the ace of, for the podcast, ace of spades, king of hearts, four of diamonds turns the eight of spades. So, Broadway flush draws like a queen jack of spades, queen 10 of spades. Interesting whether somebody would take like a hand like king X of spades and bet it into two people in a three-way pot and then basically start turning it into a bluff like king 10 of spades, king jack of spades, king queen of spades, something like that. Or he could have like he could have been three betting you off with like a midish suited connect or like 5-6 of spades, which brings in 6-7, which brings in straight draws, which are now, backdoors. There's no way you can fold now, in my opinion. What are you going to call with if you're going to fold ace 10 here on the turn?
No, yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I mean, if he's taking this size with like king X of spades, which I'm not really sure if he would or if he's supposed to, then obviously like I can never fold. I didn't know if he'd ever be like value betting like a worse ace here for this size, which kind of scared me. Like if you'd be doing this like ace five or
Probably
like ace
not.
nine.
Probably not. But he can still probably fairly liberally value bet ace queen / ace jack maybe again. But
Yeah.
You call, right?
Yep.
So
so I called. It's like $800, 805.
Yeah. Okay.
And we've got like 1,700 behind.
Yeah. Okay.
And the river is an offsuit 7, so a pretty big brick. I guess it could bring in like 5-6, but I don't know. Either of us have that.
Mm-hmm.
I check, and then the button takes a couple seconds and then puts out 11 black chips, so $1,100, which was a humongous bet.
So here we go. This is exactly what I'm talking about here. So this is going to be, again, you can look at it from pot odds, like you're going to get less than 2-1, but this really would be like an MDF, I think, frequency where, he's betting slightly over the size of the pot. We'll call it pot and a half, even though it isn't, which probably means that he probably needs to be good on a bluff 60% of the time at risking pot and a half. Of course, pot would be 50%, double pot would be 66%. You take the reciprocal of that to figure out your defense. So if he's risking like 60%, it means you have to defend with 40% of the hands that you get here with. Now, is ace 10 in that 40% range? That's the whole thing. What else do you have here? Like we said, you don't have aces, you don't have kings, you don't have ace king. So you could have fours, you could have ace 4, you could have ace 8, you could have ace 7, and then you yourself, I guess, could back into 5. No, you couldn't. You can't back into a straight because you wouldn't call the flop.
Yeah, not even.
Yeah. So really, you're left with pocket fours, ace 4, ace 8, and ace 7, and then you got to look at the suits of like how many combos of each one there are. There's 2 of ace 4, 3 of ace 8, maybe 2 of ace 7. That's like 8 combos, and then you've got 3 combos of pocket fours, and then I think that you have your weaker aces here too, like ace. If you're not four betting ace 5, if ace 6 is a defend, ace 9, ace 3, you probably wouldn't defend ace deuce. So you kind of go down the line and count. Now, I actually looked at this as a quick shortcut like in Solver Plus, and where it has it, and I think it makes sense, is ace queen is a call here. Ace jack was like partials. Ace 10 sort of leaned towards a little bit of a fold, which I was somewhat surprised at because I still would think that ace 10 would still probably be in the 40% range. But I think what this hand, again, indicates, though, is that by not four betting, you actually have to defend down lighter. And the question is, and this is where a live exploit could be made, as we are live players, if we think we can get somebody to fold an ace, this could actually be an overbluffed spot if you're not going to defend down necessarily to, ace 10 here in this spot. The other interesting thing going on here too, when they said like ace queen and ace jacks are calls, is that those block some of those Broadway draws. And I think I remember it having like ace 3 actually called more than like ace 10. It wasn't necessarily linearly. It was your hand is going to be the equivalent, right? You have ace 10 versus ace 3. It's the same hand, right? So same hand value. So now you want to unblock the Broadway. So theoretically, you'd actually rather have ace 3 here than ace 10. So I think it's pretty close. I thought it was kind of a call, but then when I looked at it, if he's structuring correctly, maybe it's not, and I think it has, some ace tens are called down, but would somebody be over bluffing in this spot? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, once he takes his size, like he kind of relinquishes himself from having ace jack or ace queen. So I think the value of my ace, like having top pair like ace 10, like you said, like ace 10 is pretty much the same as ace 3 at this point. Obviously, I was worried he could have ace king, aces or kings, things like that. But I don't know.
Also, you
I
don't want to
also
have
thought
a
it was weird that.
right. You don't want to have a spade in your hand, as someone said in the live chat.
Mhm,
Right, could block some of his. And then
definitely.
ideally, you wouldn't want to have. I think some of the Broadway cards, like a 10 jack or queen. Although this, I think I remember the solver having ace 9 folded almost always, which was somewhat interesting.
Hmm.
But I mean, if this is an overbluff spot, you have a call. I think it's really close. If he's some like hotshot Euro with a backpack on a board like this and you didn't four bet, I might click the call button for sure. What ended
Right.
up happening?
So I ended up folding,
Uh huh.
and he immediately showed queen jack of spades, and he was very proud of it.
Yeah, I mean that's a structured bluff. At least he's not doing it with like 5-3 of hearts or some bullshit like that, where you're like, oh shit,
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
really made a huge mistake. I mean that's certainly one of them, right?
I just
Um,
had one question. Like
yeah.
when he bets 1100 and leaves himself like six behind, you would think he would either bet like 400 to 600, like half pot, which would be third of stacks, or just put it all in. I didn't really know what to make of him just putting in 1100 bucks, which was it just seemed pretty peculiar at the time. But
What?
maybe that's just live poker.
What? He had like 1,600 back or something, or 1,500 back,
Yeah, we had 1700 back and he bet
1,700 back.
11.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure exactly. I mean, whether it's pot and a half or 2x. If I mean, the theory goes, if you want to polarize, right, you want to give somebody like a worse price. So if
Hmm.
pot and a half equals ace king plus, and so does 2x equals ace king plus 2, the theory would go you'd want to take the larger sizing, to have less, obviously, of the bluff catches. But there is something else to be said about that too. If you are structuring correctly and you have strong hands to call down with. The other thing that's also interesting is that if he is taking a sizing that's ace king plus, I didn't use the 2x sizing, I don't think, on the solver, but you wonder if some of these aces up hands start to go away, because that doesn't really matter either if he's representing ace king plus, besides the fact that you just block
Right.
him having an ace, but you block him having an ace here anyways, right, with ace 10. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. I think it's pretty close. I wouldn't like knock myself up about it, you know what I mean? But I think what you
Yeah.
should
Yeah.
take away from this hand, though, obviously it's a 4-bet pre, and then this is one of the stronger hands you're going to have. You know what I mean? Moving to the end.
Yeah. Definitely.
So I appreciate the call.